It starts on a quiet, ordinary evening in 1999, a small town in Wisconsin, USA. Everything seems normal, the world moving at its usual pace. But one evening, everything would change forever. A young woman, full of life, would vanish into thin air. This is the story of Jessica Dishon, a tragedy that would haunt her family and the entire community for 15 long years. Jessica Dishon, an 18-year-old high school student, was a typical teenager in her small town. She had friends, she had dreams, and she had a family that loved her dearly. But on a cold November night in 1999, Jessica left her house to head to school, and she never came back. Her family would soon face the most horrifying realization: their beloved Jessica had disappeared. At first, there were hopes. They thought she might have run away or something minor had happened. But as hours passed into days, the panic set in. The police were called, and an investigation was launched. But for reasons no one could understand, there were no signs of where she had gone. The community rallied around Jessica's family, hoping for a quick resolution. But no one could have anticipated the horror that was to unfold. In the early days, the search efforts seemed hopeful. Police scoured the town, interviewing witnesses, looking for clues. But Jessica's sudden and unexplained disappearance seemed impossible to solve. Days turned into weeks, and then months, and still nothing. The police did not have any leads, and the family's hopes began to fade. Jessica's parents, devastated by the disappearance of their daughter, clung to the belief that she was still alive, that somehow they would find her. But every search effort ended in dead ends. There were no answers, just empty streets and a heartbroken family that couldn't understand what had happened. The more time passed, the more it became clear that Jessica's disappearance was something darker. Her parents became increasingly worried that someone might have taken her, or worse. There were rumors, whispers around town, but nothing concrete. The town of Wisconsin, once peaceful and safe, began to feel like a place where no one could trust anything anymore. Questions began to swirl. Was this a case of abduction? Did someone hurt her? Was she simply lost? The mystery only deepened as the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into years. A sense of dread began to hang over the community. Something was not right, and no one could figure out what it was. Then, in 2014, a shocking discovery was made. 15 years after Jessica had disappeared, a body was found in a secluded forest area, not far from where Jessica had vanished. DNA tests confirmed that the body was, in fact, Jessica Dishon. The shockwave that rippled through the community was enormous. The mystery was over, but the questions remained.
The discovery of Jessica's body came as a devastating blow to her family. 15 years of uncertainty and heartache were suddenly replaced by an even darker reality. Jessica was gone, and now, the truth would have to come out. But what had really happened? How did she end up in the woods? Who was responsible for her death? The painful truth, searching for justice. The pain of Jessica's family didn't end with the discovery of her body. For 15 long years, they had lived with the hope that one day she would return, and now, they had to face the cruel reality that their daughter was taken from them. The discovery of her body brought no closure, only more questions and a desperate search for justice. Who had taken Jessica? Who was responsible for her death? And why had it taken so long for her to be found? These questions would remain unanswered for a long time, leaving Jessica's family with more pain and uncertainty than they could ever have imagined. The unsolved mystery. A town left in darkness. Jessica's disappearance and eventual death left a permanent scar on her small town. It was not just a personal tragedy for her family, but a tragedy that affected everyone in the community. Everyone who had known Jessica, everyone who had lived through the nightmare of her disappearance, was left with unanswered questions. How could someone have taken a young girl? And why did it take so long to find out the truth? 15 years passed, and while the mystery of Jessica's death was eventually uncovered, the true story behind it remained hidden in the shadows. Her case remained unsolved, and the town was left to grapple with the dark secrets that had been buried for so long. A legacy of pain and hope. The legacy of Jessica Dishon's story is not just one of pain, but of hope. Her family's perseverance and their fight for justice in the face of overwhelming odds are a testament to their strength. Though the truth of what happened to Jessica may never be fully known, her story has touched countless lives. Her case serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the search for justice must continue, no matter how long it takes. Jessica Dishon's story is a tragic and chilling reminder of how quickly a life can be taken, and how long it can take to uncover the truth. For 15 years, Her family lived in uncertainty, never knowing what happened to their daughter. But, in the end, they found her, and while the answers may not have been the ones they hoped for, they were finally able to lay her memory to rest. Her story will forever be remembered in the hearts of those who knew her, and in the minds of everyone who has heard her story. It is a reminder that the search for justice must never stop, no matter how long it takes.